Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to my March wrap-up. It's a pretty good month. I read a total of 8 books and let us talk about them. So the first set of books that I have read in the month of March were for a Neil Gaiman reading vlog. So here, got the first 4 volumes of the Sandman series, the prequel of sorts, Overture, and this one is a prequel like I had obviously just said, and it follows Dream as he has to save the world from destruction and the end of times. I gave this one 4 stars. The artwork is absolutely incredible. They really complement each other and they're really contrasting with one another. There will be a cartoony character, and then beside that will be a realistic, lifelike artwork, and it will be so stunning, so beautiful. There are also like you see these black parts, and now if I can walk, there we go, there are these black things that open up like that, and I thought that was so cool. Before getting into the Sandman Chronicles, or the Sandman series, I was a little worried that it was going to be convoluted and I wasn't going to understand it, but it really wasn't. It was actually pretty easy to understand, thank goodness. I really enjoyed the story, and it does give some background into Dream and his siblings and also his parents and how they were created and how the universe in this story, in this series, was also created. There are also different variations of Dream throughout this first book, and I just absolutely loved seeing that. There's mentions and little glimpses of different alternate realities, different universes. I just think it's fascinating how Dream, there are so many thousands, hundreds of thousands of different incantations of Dream throughout the galaxies, throughout the universes, throughout time. And it was just so damn awesome. This book does talk about how the Eternals, or Dream's family, the people that created the universes, is coming to an end. I wonder if that is going to have some negative flow-on effects throughout the rest of the series. I wonder if there is going to be a big war to make sure that they don't become extinct. I don't know. I've only read 4 technically with this one of volumes, so I'll have to continue reading on to find out. Which leads me into Volume 1, Preludes and Nocturnes. It follows Dream. He has been captured and kept prisoner for more than a century. He's been wrongfully, might I add, and he has been called upon by rich white men who want power and immortality, because of course, what else? As he was captured, his tools that give him his powers, they were stolen from him, and it has had negative consequences throughout the dream world and also throughout reality. Again, I gave this 4 stars. Really thoroughly enjoyed it. Volumes 1 and 2. There's a Netflix adaptation on these, right? So this is the second one, isn't it? Yes. If you've seen the Netflix adaptation, it doesn't really differentiate too much from this except for some characters here and there, especially with Constantine. Constantine being a female here. No, Constantine being a male in this series and also a female in the Netflix adaptation. There are similarities. There's actually quite a few similarities because most of the stories, or even all of the stories in here, the first 2 volumes follow pretty much almost spot on to the Netflix series. Where the comics is only a certain amount of time to tell these stories, the Netflix adaptation has made differences and has also extended the story a little bit to make it a little more fleshed out, which I really enjoyed. I gave both of these volumes 4 stars, which then leads me into volume number 3 that I read for the reading vlog. I gave this one 4 stars as well. This is actually like a short story collection. It doesn't really follow a single person. It jumps around between different people. And I hear that the volumes after this one, which is Season of Mists, well, starting with Season of Mists and going straight through to The Dream Hunters, Endless Night and The Dream Hunters, are actually short story collections as well, I believe. I heard that after this volume, things really thicken. The plot thickens, things from different volumes start to make sense and they connect with one another. This one also showcases that humans are vile creatures. Humans are just disgusting, and it really shows the worst side of humanity. There is a Shakespeare one in here, like a Shakespeare story. Oh boy, did I struggle to get through that one. It was rough, only because I never really liked Shakespeare. learning about Shakespeare in school, so it was rough to get through. But then it had a bit of a twist at the end, which I really liked. I still struggled, but the twist alone really made up for it. I then read Neverwhere. This is the last book I read for that Neil Gaiman reading vlog. It follows Richard Mayhew as he follows Dor, who is from London Below, which is very, very similar to London Above, just with more magic, creatures, angels as well. London Below is a city where people have fallen through the cracks, and Richard Mayhew is one of those people that have fallen through the cracks because he has helped save Dor, which has had a bit of an impact in his life, so he has also fallen through the cracks as well. I gave this book 4 stars. It is a dual point of view, so we do jump around between different characters in this book. There were some twists and turns here. They weren't really like wow shocking, but I do think they were done pretty well, and it made sense as well. Like, it wasn't forced, it was natural, and it made sense for the story. The pacing was a beautiful speed, not too fast, not too slow. It was enough to keep the pages turning, with some faster scenes and also some scenes to slow down and get to know the characters a bit more. I had said in the reading vlog that I would not consider this to be a portal fantasy, but upon further reflection I may have to retract that because it is very light on the portal fantasy. I see portal fantasy as going from one part of the world or dimension to another, where London Below really focuses more on one part of London Below, transporting you to another part of London Below, or London Above, transporting you to another place in London Below. But there have been some instances of traveling to different dimensions as well, and there has been a character that has done that, so making me wonder that it is very light on the portal fantasy, so if you like portal fantasy, you might enjoy this one. I think that Neil Gaiman really likes his mythology. After reading this one, not only with the Sandman Chronicles series, whatever, but also with Neverwhere, and also some of his other books I do have some sort of a mythology about them as well, so interesting. Very, very interesting. This world in London Below is absolutely dark, it's brutal, it's gruesome, it's filled with crime and corruption, and it is a place that desperately needs some organizing and cleaning up, which has been mentioned in this book. And I'm wondering if Neil Gaiman were to ever revisit this book, this series, because it's supposed to be a series, I'm wondering if he would focus more on the cleanup of London Below. Not entirely sure. And one last point, I really liked how there was a discussion about finding where you belong in the world, in society. I have also read the first book in the Sands of Arawiya, Duology Arawiya. Anyway, We Hunt the Flame by Hafsa Faisal. Gave this one 4 stars, I thought it was really good. It follows 2 people. You'd think I'd know who they are. Zafira is a hunter who is forced to disguise herself as a man to hunt for her people and provide them with food. Nasia is the Prince of Death, and he is the son to the king. He's a very, very cruel king. He's been taught what to do. He's basically a little puppet. Their homelands had magic, right? And magic is not a thing anymore. So there is this trial, this competition to bring the magic back to the lands. Zafira and Nasia, they both go to do this trial, to do this tournament, to hopefully get the magic back. First of all, 4 stars. Writing is very, very good, really good. And I think this is actually quite a fascinating magic system because the magic in these lands, each caliph or city or region has had in the past, when magic was a thing, they have had different magical properties, and each one is specific for that region. Like, one region will have a lot of healers, one region will have like magic to give people food, so they all kind of help each other out in a way. There is dark magic at play that 1 is not supposed to exist and 2 is in the wrong hands. At the beginning of this book, the 2 main characters are keeping a bit of a secret from the world, from each other, and this is a slow burn enemies to lovers romance. I can understand the romance a little bit and actually did not mind it because they kind of like kept going back and forth, and the previous ideas that these characters, Nasia and Zafira, had of each other, they were like, oh, he's this, oh, she's that, so and so. But the more that they got to know each other, the more those stereotypes, those preconceived ideas, the more they kind of left them behind, the more they stopped thinking about those negative ideas of each other. But I wanted a little bit more of that, because I could understand why, because it is talked about with their internal thoughts. I just wanted a little bit more of it. There are also discussions about how women are oppressed. It doesn't happen in all of the regions or all of the caliphs, and it only talks about how women are oppressed in other cities or regions and not in others. Like, women are kind of like the blame for why magic is not a thing anymore, and the mythology surrounding it with who wielded the magic and who kind of created the magic, I guess you could say, was really, really fascinating. Kind of like midway through the book, there was kind of like a bit of a slog, and that was in the tournament or the journey that these characters go on to bring magic back to the lands. It is a bit of a slog a little bit, but around the 3/4, like definitely more towards the end, it does ramp up a little bit. I did make some predictions, they were correct, and it was just kind of took the characters a bit longer to catch on. Like, come on, it's right there in front of you. There's a bit of an inconsistency in here, and it's one that I think I'm a little more aware of because I see it quite a bit, especially with Ali Hazelwood's books, and it's about the height. When Zafira was found out that she was a woman and not a man, she's a huntress and not a hunter, she was mentioned to be tall, right? Because the specific words were long-limbed. And then, all of a sudden, she was grabbing a knife or some blades from another character in this book, and she was standing on her tippy toes to get them at his waist. I thought she was long-limbed, I thought she was taller, and then you go and say that she's short, so she has to reach up and try and grab them. Like, how tall is this other guy? And how short is Zafira actually? I don't know. But it does go back and forth between, oh, she's short, oh, she's tall. That's just one little thing that kind of niggled at me a little bit. But other than that, it was actually a pretty good book. And it is a duology. I have the last book to read, and I'm very curious to see how it's all going to wrap up. Then I read 2 volumes of Attack on Titan, Volume 8. Like, I'm just going to quickly tell you what the series is about because I've been talking about it pretty much non-stop. The remainder of humanity is living behind these 3 walled cities to protect them from Titans. And there is this one Titan that has broken through the wall, and it is humanity's last chance to fight against the Titans to survive, hopefully, to defeat and eradicate the Titans once and for all. This volume, another 5 stars. So good. Each installment keeps getting better and better, and I know what the fans are saying by the little minuscule details that you often overlook. And oh boy, how did I miss that? I don't know. How did I miss it? I don't know. I don't. Armin seems like a very smart character. Levi looks like he has seen a lot of shit. I have been told that once the story gets going, that Levi will be my favorite character and I will love him. I just want to swaddle him in like a little burrito. He has seen some shit. He does not look okay. Now, after reading the synopsis of this particular volume, I thought it was going to go in one direction and one way, but it turned out to go in another direction. And I wasn't complaining because it was good. And it really is about kind of like, not smoke and mirrors, but kind of taking you by the hand, pulling you one way, but like snatching you in another direction. That's kind of what it seems like. So much has happened in this volume, and I think so much more is still yet to come. So I don't know what's going to happen next. I think I said in the previous wrap-up when I read volume 7 that I'm going to have to not do any more theories anymore because I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just going to go with the flow, enjoy the story, and have a good time at it. And I also read volume 9, but this was the last book that I read. Gave this one 4 stars. I think if every volume in this series were to be a 4 to 5 stars, I'll be a very, very happy girl. The quality of the series hasn't dropped. It's just this one, compared to some of the other 5 stars I've given the other volumes in this series, this one didn't quite meet that, but still very, very good. A lot has happened in this volume. We are introduced to a Beast Titan, which there is more to this Beast Titan. This volume follows more heavily on the flashbacks because another wall has been torn down by a Titan, right? It goes back and forth between like 6 hours before, 6 hours after, 20 hours after, 20 hours before kind of thing. So it goes back and forth with the flashbacks, which I don't mind because a lot has happened and I think those flashbacks are important. This is definitely a side character motivated volume, and I don't mind because I actually don't mind the side characters. They are more important than I would think, especially because I've just read volume 11 and 10. So they are more important than you think and I need to pay attention to them. Thank you very much everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Those were the 8 books I read in March and it was a really good reading month, you know, I can't complain. I read really good quality books and I'm hoping I can continue that through the rest of the year. What books do you read in the month of March? I would really like to know, and I will see you in the next video. Now it's time to get reading.